But what I want to say is that one of the most powerful ways that you can start to tune into the wave motion that will calm your brain down, that will open up your intuition, and that will bring you back into the reality of God, which is pure love and makes you perceive everything through the eyes of love and you feel safe, has to do with breathing, but it's not observing your breathing. Because observing your breathing, and this is controversial, I know, because everyone tells you, observe your breathing, or observe a candle, or observe a mantra. Find some object and observe it. And then you'll develop witness consciousness, and then you'll feel safe. But that's a bit like saying you'll feel safe if you wear a mask and wear a full hazmat suit and go into an ivory tower and hide from reality. See, that's a kind of safety called, I would call it dissociation. And I talk about going from witness to wetness. What if you could flow with everything and still feel safe? What if the waves of reality were actually waves of ecstasy and not something that's going to threaten you? So don't witness your breathing. Get right inside your breathing and let it soothe you like it's your mother. Now that might not sound like a big difference, but it is 100% difference. It's like the difference between phone sex and actual sex, you know? And right now we're in this level where the best thing we can find is sort of like have everything be virtual and as far away as possible so that we won't catch the virus of intimacy, you know, so that nobody will touch us. No one will trigger our fear of being felt, of interacting at a level of energy. We're terrified of energy. We've become terrified of our own energy because it carries so much old fear and sadness and anger. We've become terrified of other people's energy for the same reason. But here's the solution. You are being breathed right now by God. And if you could, instead of, now witnessing your breathing might be better than nothing, but it will sooner or later bring you into a feeling of separation from everything. And you'll feel maybe a little spiritually superior, but that's not the same as liberation. What if you could fall back into your breath? So right now, if you're watching this, you're already breathing. So let a breath come in and let it go out and open your mouth. And let another one come in and let it go out, but don't try and control it. Just notice that it's happening. You can close your mouth and breathe through your nose. But the one thing I would recommend is if you're going to tinker at all and do a little tiny hack so that you'll be able to experience being carried by the wave of breath, it would be let your breath be continuous, so that you can hear a continuous wave of breath, feel a continuous wave of breath, and see if you can stay in that continuous wave of breath for 1 whole minute, and then maybe 2 whole minutes, and maybe 3 whole minutes. And after a while, you will actually cross this line where your mind is desperately trying to get out. And you'll start to realize, oh my God, it's blissful here. And it's safe here. I feel like I'm in the arms of my mother, because I literally am in the arms of my mother, because this wave of life energy is our mother. I used to call it the mother wave. It's the mother wave. It's continually loving us, giving us life. It's our chi, it's our prana, and it's more than that. So if you can fall back into that wave and let it carry you for a while, then amazingly, it's not about not thinking. That will actually tune you in. And I'm working around to answer your first question. So that will eventually tune you in to a different kind of thought. That instead of being a closed system of all of your fears recycling themselves with various outer influences, that kind of confirm your biases, which is basically what we all have, is a closed system of thought that terrifies us. When you start to put your attention into this spontaneous, infinite wave of breath, and you're not breathing, something greater than you is breathing, then you start to tune in to the thoughts of God. Einstein, who actually wasn't religious, although everyone tries to say he was, but he did say 2 or 3 things. And one thing he said was, I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details. So your own thoughts, your own opinions, and everyone else's, just think of that as distraction. I want to know God's thoughts, which is the true intuition, the true guidance. And you can't get to it until you've been for a while in this spontaneous nature of your own life force. And then you'll start to notice that into your consciousness will start to enter, maybe it's the solution to something you've been praying about or asking even about, because that's a sort of prayer. Or maybe it's this incredible creative idea. Or maybe you suddenly start a business or start painting or start loving people more because you see the other side of things. In other words, you start being a conduit for higher consciousness. And that is the solution to the world situation. And of course, I'm sure there are other practical situations, and those whose life purpose it is to fight that one out, God bless them. I think that's a pretty high calling, to be brave enough to be out there trying to figure out what is the best thing here and what is the best thing there. But I feel called to a calling, and I believe the kind of person watching this might be called to a calling of elevating our consciousness into the direct experience of oneness, because from here, then we'll know what to do next. We'll know we just sort of know. And from that higher knowing, everything self-organizes, even the whole planet, from a few people bringing that kind of consciousness into the field, even if we're not talking. The consciousness of the higher love pervades the field, and everybody's minds calm down. And I think that's kind of like a good close, because I feel like if I say anything more, it will light up the fires again. So after listening to this video, if you've made it through till now, just spend a few moments falling back into a continuous wave of your own breath, and realize that the whole planet is breathing, the whole universe is breathing. That breathing motion is actually the in-breath and out-breath of the entire universe, that core primordial word, as it's called in the Bible. It's that vibration of consciousness and of life force, where consciousness and life force become one. And you can actually tune your consciousness to that in 5 minutes. And then you'll experience the real meaning of silence and stillness, which is being tuned to the wave, being in synchrony, being in phase with the waves of the infinite, instead of with the back-forth pendulum of human thought forms. The end.